Let's see. Boop. Today's class is going to be brought to you by today's class. I don't have sponsors. We're going to be working on our lower body, which tends to be the case for Tuesdays. We do more of a lower body focus. Thursdays tend to be a little bit more upper body focus. We're going to be on doing some single leg stuff. If you have blocks, if you're following along, blocks can be handy, or something to put your hands on. Maybe that's a chair with kind of a low seat or a stool. I highly recommend going to grab one of those now. It will come in handy later in the class. Macaroni and cheese almost ready. You're going to make me hungry while I'm teaching. That's not fair. All right, so let's start our class. If you're just following along, hanging out, sitting in your desk, you can do these first few minutes at the desk with us. If you're following along on your mats, let's come to a seated position that feels comfortable for you. It doesn't need to look like mine, okay? As you can see in the side cam, I'm sitting on my yoga block. Elevating the hips is going to make your seated poses and postures a little bit more accessible. So if it feels uncomfortable, consider raising your seat. Hands are on the thighs. We're going to sit up nice and tall and close the eyes, bringing our awareness and attention into the breath. Breathing in nice and deep, feeling your belly expand in all directions, and letting that breath go. Again, we inhale, fill into the belly. At the top of the breath, maybe the ribs balloon open. And exhale there. Good. Keep this nice breath going. Inhale. And exhale. Again, through the nose here. We talk about it through each class. We want to try to focus our breath going in and out through the nose as much as possible. Not only through the class, but throughout your day. And if you can get yourself to get into that habit while you're sleeping too, it can be really beneficial. I won't go into it. We can talk about it at the end of the class, but really important. And as you sit and breathe here, maybe you can bring up an intention for today's class. Right? And sometimes people like to dedicate their practice to somebody. That's a common practice in yoga. Dedicating the class to somebody who needs your love and attention right now. Maybe it's to somebody that is frustrating you, or you're having some conflict with, so that you can kind of bring this sense of compassion and patience towards that connection there. If that feels a little not like you, maybe you can just say, hey, I'm going to do my best today. That can be your intention. You've shown up and just doing the best that you can. You know, you've made this time for yourself already. You're doing something beneficial for yourself. But when we have an intention, we can use that as well as our breath as our anchors. And we don't need to push ourselves because we have the intention of just doing the best that we can. We don't need to force something because this is just for the love of somebody else. You know, if you set your intention to dedicate the practice to somebody. Good. So with the breath and the intention in our mind as our seed that we can kind of always come back to, we'll start with our neck circles here. Drop the chin down to the chest. Slowly taking that head around. No need to rush any of this. Just noticing what you feel. Maybe you slept on the ground this last weekend and you're feeling your neck is a little tighter. Right, just being patient and noticing where and how much sensation is happening through the neck there. Nice and slow, no rush here. You can reverse the direction. Just really appreciating all the things that your body can do. Not focusing so much on what it can't do, but really being grateful for all that it allows. Its ability to learn, its ability to adapt, to grow, to heal. Wonderful. Good. Let's bring our head back to center here. Shoulder blade circles. Again, you can do these in your chair if you're just sitting and watching. Just a nice little reset. If you've been at the computer, maybe you're quote unquote at work, like Dark Abyss, just taking a moment or two to breathe, to move your head, to move your shoulders. That's just a nice reminder if we're doing a lot of computer work, and I need this reminder just as much as anybody else, to just take a break every now and then and move your body. Get those juices flowing. Good. Arms out to your side. We inhale, reach wide, then we reach tall by the time we get to the top of the breath. Exhale, hands down the center. We'll do that a couple more times. Breathe in, reach tall, but notice as we're reaching, the rib cage is widening with that to support the inhale. Good. Let's go 2 more. This feels really good. Inhale. Reach out through the fingertips. Longest arms you can make. Last one here. Big reach. And exhale. Good. One more reach to prep here. And as you exhale, hands come down in front of you, which rolls us over our knees. We come into our all fours position. Hands directly under the shoulders here, knees just under the hips. As we breathe in, we'll arch the back. This is our cow pose, and we're looking up. Exhale, press down through the hands, round the whole spine. Look under the body as you tuck the tailbone. This is cat. So we're cat and cow positions. Inhale, feeling the arch. Exhale, rounding it down. Okay, you can stay with this here. Again, I always offer up a little bit of freestyle. If your body wants to move, to slither, to dance, to flow, let it go. Let it happen. Let your body tell you where it needs some space. You know, so something's going on my left side, so I'm being drawn to kind of bias into that left. But just appreciate how your spine can move here. Some of you are practicing that articulated spine. So starting from our cow with that big arch, I'm going to begin the rounding like a wave starting at my tailbone. Tuck it under. Try to feel that wave that travels up the back, letting the head be the last thing. And then same thing from here. We start at the tailbone. I'm just tipping it forward. Trying to stay rounded in the upper part of my spine until that wave gets there. And that's more advanced. That takes practice, time. It takes patience there. So a couple of different options just to get us moving our spine. And again, you could do this in a chair. You don't have to be on all fours. You could be sitting. Oh, let me go this way. Rounding down, spreading the shoulder blades, and opening the arms back. Right. Oh, my bed is in the way. Maybe I'll do it this way. All right, so all different options. If you're sitting or if you're on all fours, we can move our spine. You can go sideways with your spine in a seated position, okay? So different actions there. So let's come back to our stable all fours position, our little tabletop here. We're going to send that right leg back. Keep the balls of the foot connected in that right foot. And just reach back through that heel so we're getting a little bit of a gentle calf stretch here. And I'm using my hands to kind of push back into it. And while I'm in this stretch, I'm doing a little bit of exploring. So I'm rolling from the, we're on the knuckles of the toes. I'm rolling from the big toe knuckle over the pinky toe knuckle. Okay, just noticing the stretch sensation and how it changes. Good. Let's lift that straight right leg up into the air so that it's in line with our upper body and start to take that ankle through some big circles. Now, feel the butt. Feel your booty holding that leg into the air. Feel your quads holding the legs straight. And then all the muscles that run up and down that lower limb working as you draw that ankle through circles. Hey, what's up? Kittens, how you doing? Can't stay, but wanted to say hi. Thank you, man. I appreciate you stopping by just to say hello. Good. We're rolling that ankle around. Meow, meow. I just missed that. What's up, Band Slam? Welcome in, welcome in. We're just kind of getting the lower body prepped here. Good. Let's bring that right knee back down to the ground. Straighten that left leg back behind you. Have the balls of the feet be in contact with the floor, and you can just lean back into that. So feel that calf stretch there. I appreciate you guys being here. Side to side if you want. Maybe you're just liking that calf stretch straight back. And I have to push with my arms to really load up that calf. And we'll go a little bit deeper with this in a moment. Good. Let's shift forward. Lift that left leg. Keep it in line with the body there. Reach back through the heel. And we feel that firm leg as that ankle takes its circles. Nice and slow, nice and big. Feel every little muscle that supports that ankle joint at play here. Whoop, my leg's dropping a little bit. Reversing the direction there. Woo! If you're doing these really big, you might start to feel some stuff in your feet. Mine are almost cramping up. Woo! Another breath here, inhale. And exhale. Good, let's put that down. Curl the toes under. Let's come into our downward facing dog. So we're sending the hips up to the sky. Little down dog there. Let that dance around the screen a little bit. And just breathe. See what that nice big inhale feels like here. No worry. No worries, old game lady. Thank you for coming. I see somebody on, who came in on Zoom? Is that you coming in on Zoom too, Gina? So allow the knees to be soft here if they need to be. It doesn't need to be your most intense downward facing dog right now. You can pedal the feet out, feel like straightening one leg and then the other. See what that feels like. Heels don't have to be on the ground here. Better late than never, right? That's a nice little saying. Okay. Let's walk the feet forward. We'll be in that forward fold here, top of the mat. Feet hip distance apart. You can just check with two knuckles right between the big toes. That's an easy way to just get a quick distance check. Let the head and the arms just dangle. Officer dangle. And while I'm in this forward fold, my body was kind of like, hey, why don't you bend and straighten here as well? So you might try that. Hey, Band Slam, your crow pose is coming along. How do you feel in it? That's the real question.
You feel more stable? Do you feel more connected? Those are the questions you want to start to ask yourself, to inquire, to self-inquire. Do I feel in control? Do I feel strong? Do I feel the balance point? And just really in all the practice, not just crow pose or really hard poses, but let's say this forward fold. How does this forward fold feel to me today? Does it feel less restricted? If you're somebody who lives in some small amount of pain or discomfort throughout your days, maybe this starts to get your body to feel a little bit better. Maybe you notice, hey, my fingertips are a little bit closer to the floor today. Cool. Right, so you're always doing this little self-check-in. How's everything feeling? Good. Let's bend the knees a little bit. Hands to the shins. We're lifting halfway up. So it's an arch of the spine. Breathe in. On your exhale, allow your body to refold. Use the inhale to come all the way up so the arms reach out, then up. Bring yourself up to standing. And exhale, arms alongside the body. Good. We're going to flow a little bit here. Breathe it in, reach tall. Exhale, forward fold. Oh, Kate, it was you that popped in. I see. Hello. I heard somebody come in. I assumed it was Gina. Breathe it in, lift halfway up. Exhale, bend the knees to plant hands. If you can hop back, you can do that. Otherwise, I'm going to just step my feet back. Hey, what's up, Marcel? Welcome in. We're going to take an extra breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Let's lower the knees first. Then the chest and the chin drop right between the hands. Keep the elbows in tight. We're doing great, Marcel. How are you doing? Inhale, slide forward and up. So the belly is flattening, but the chest is lifting. Feel your upper back muscles here. And then we exhale, push back into downward facing dog. Good. So while we're here and we're breathing, I'm going to give a little shout out to Marcel. He's a yoga teacher here, but really cool event. We're going to be doing a live podcast this Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to be talking about yoga and health and fitness and men in yoga. It's going to be a cool little podcast, so check that out if you're around. It'll be on Marcel's channel, so you can follow that link. Yeah, Marcel, I got all my shout-outs at the push of a button. I'll show it to you after class if you're around. Boop. Who's going to be there? Ask Marcel. Yeah, it's going to be he and I, but anyone else maybe. Good. Let's walk the feet forward. You can hop it forward if you want. Doot, 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 doot. And on your next breath in, hands come to the shins. We're lifting halfway up. And we exhale, let everything deflate. Ooh. We inhale, come all the way up. Bring it up tall. Nasivenya, and we bring it down. Arms by your side. Good, let's do that one more time. Inhale, reach chin tall. Kate's like, what did I log on to? I hurried for a shower to this. He's singing Lion King. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, we're lifting halfway up. Chosen one, welcome, welcome. Exhale, bend the knees enough to plant the hands, and then you can hop it back or step it back. If you know the full vinyasa, you can do it. We're going to take an extra breath here. And we exhale, knees lower. Then the chest and the chin drop between the hands. Notice I keep my elbows in tight. I'm actually trying to squeeze my rib cage. We inhale, slide it up. And exhale, downward facing dog. Lift that right leg up into the air here. Really straighten that leg. I got a bookshelf back here, so sometimes I kick it. On your next breath in, lift way up onto the tippy toes of your left foot. Exhale, we can drop that down. Maybe it gets a little closer to the floor. Do that 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Let's bend that right knee, bring it forward. Our aim is to step it between the hands. If we only get about halfway up, like I say, take your hand, get it the rest of the way there. Ain't no shame in it. Lower that back knee. Let's come into a little bit of a low lunge. Oh, it feels good. Okay, so we do this in almost all of my classes. It's just a great stretch, especially when we focus on what the pelvis is doing in terms of its rotation. So you can play with that and notice the sensations and how they change. Now, if you want to make your low lunge a little bit more challenging, and you've got the top of your foot down, you can start to press down into the shoelaces, basically. And maybe you can see I've got that back knee barely hovering off the floor. It's harder. Good. 2 more breaths here, wherever you are. Easier or harder, it's up to you. Last breath. And exhale. Let's lower the knee if it was up, and the hand. Good. We're going to shift back, straightening that front leg. Again, another classic in this class. This little low lunge to half split is one of my faves. It's a really nice little accessible flow. I think that's why I like it, because it's potent, but it is achievable, because we don't have to have the leg all the way straight, or we bring blocks or something similar to bring the floor up, and it makes it accessible for us. Hello, everyone. Just resting for a bit before joining. Oh, nice. Sailor Daro. Yes. Well, we're just getting started, and we are doing really well. Welcome in, Sailor Daro. And thank you for the shout-out on Friday for the Yoga-hana. I appreciate that. Good. So let's add in a little something different here. Not too different, but just a subtle cue that may change the sensation here. We're going to take our right thumb into the right hip crease. Gosh, not really demoing this very well. Hopefully you can see it in that side cam. But we're going to anchor that hip down. Let it drop down. You may actually have to come up from your forward fold to drop it and then forward fold. So, whoo! That basically changed the stretch there. Did you feel any difference there, Kate or Subu? Felt a little bit? Yeah. Not as much. Okay, Subu, not so much. It's like you're trying to wrap your hip downward, because what ends up happening is the hip kind of hikes up into the air when we do some of these forward folds. So as we drop that hip down, hips are a little bit more level, stretch is a little bit more intense. Sweet! Nice. Let's rebend, coming forward. Now let's flip the toe and come into, at first, our runner's lunge. So this is kind of like this pounced, ready to sprint. My hands are on the floor or on blocks. Chest is lifted. Okay? Now, I want you to try to, with some weight in your hands, feel the heel of the front leg and the balls of the feet of the back leg try to slide towards one another. Okay? You can't really see much going on here, but man, I feel a lot through the hips. We're going to hold for 5. 4, probably a little bit through that front hamstring, because you're trying to like drag your heel back into a hamstring curl. 2 and 1. Good. Release that. Stay in that base. Inhale, rise up to your high lunge. Good. Take in a breath here. As you exhale, hands come through center. Once they get there, let's rotate to your right. And we're going to hook our left elbow on the outside of the right thigh. Now, I push down through the palm. You'll be able to see it more clearly in this side cam. This prayer palm becomes a leverage point. So as I push down through my top arm, I can leverage a little bit more rotation out of this. Feel into that back leg. Did we lose some of that straightness, or can we keep it a little straighter? Breathe here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale.
exhale. Last breath here. Good. So keep the bind here, that elbow hooked. We're going to look down at the floor. You're going to move your phone if it's haphazardly placed on your mat like mine. I'm going to look down. Now, maintaining this twist, I'm going to try to step my back foot to meet my front foot here. We're going to be in kind of like a revolved chair pose. This is what it's going to look like. I'm stepping. Didn't say it was going to be graceful, but we got there, okay? So we're knees are together. We're still in this twist. One more breath. Good. Keep the knee bend, but reach the arms to the sky. We don't do chair pose a ton in here. Good. And then let's come to stand, arms down alongside the body. The body. Let's do that all on the other side, shall we? Sound good? Cool. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Oh, look at all those Sean emojis. That's cool. I dig it. Inhale, half lift. Exhale. Doo, doo, doo. We're going to plant the hands, hop or step it back. Vinyasa of your choosing. We've done the knees, chest, chin a couple of times, so I'm going to show the chaturanga, which is a forward, way far forward, then halfway down. Inhale, we're lifting. Cobra or upward dog as you see here. And exhale, we're in our downward facing dog. I think Marcel is heading out. Thank you for stopping in, Marcel. I appreciate it. Looking forward to our podcast on Saturday, our little interview. And we're breathing. Pumpkin Panda, two of your favorite things. All right, so the left leg floats up into the air. Inhale. And feel it get straight. I like to point the toe to feel the calf. Feel that thigh firming to straighten the leg. And as the leg lifts, we feel the body. Inhale, we come way up onto the right toes. And then exhale, let that heel come down as close to the floor as yours comes. Breathe it in, come up. Breathe it out, come down. One more time here. And we exhale, lower that down. Left knee bends, it shifts forward. Our aim is to step between the hands, but hey, if you land back here somewhere, just take the same side hand and help it get the rest of the way. We're dropping that back knee, coming into our low lunge. Alrighty. So we had a couple of different options here. Move this aside. If you wanted to stay in this bottom knee down on the ground, awesome. Just see what it feels like when you rotate the pelvis, specifically turning it backwards. Imagine spilling a bowl behind you. That's what our hip wants to feel there. Or not what it wants to feel, that's what I want you to try to feel. Option here, making this a little bit harder if and only if the tops of the feet are on the ground there. You could start to press down into the floor. If you don't lift up, that's fine. You'll probably start to feel some new sensations there. Some of you can push hard enough where we just barely lift that knee off the ground. Let's go 3 breaths here. Breathe it in. And out. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Lower that knee if it was up and the hands to the floor. We shift up and back. Our little half split. Ardha Hanumanasana. Ooh, Sanskrit. I actually remember that one. All right, so you can do a couple of things here. You know, I always like to introduce the little point and flex of the toes. Maybe you're just working on getting that leg to be a little bit straighter. Over time, that's a thing that we'll need patience for. And again, having blocks is very helpful. I'm really a fan of these blocks. If you don't have a pair and you're getting into yoga, they are worth every penny. Good. And again, we did that little check in with your hip. So right now I'm kind of purposely hiking my hip up, which tends to be where we are when we're a little tighter. So maybe you bring yourself up a little bit further. Take that thumb to just inform that hip to droop. Look how much space was there, right? I'm drooping down. Now I don't even need to hinge as deeply. I feel so much more out of this stretch just because I've changed the orientation of my hips, or the position of my hips, I should say. Woo! I like it. And I'm even going beyond, so now I'm kind of actively trying to droop that left side even more than the right. That's tough to do. And you'll feel that stretch there. Okay. Let's shift it forward. We're coming into our runner's lunge first, just to kind of prep. So that's, we curl the toes under, we lift the back knee, and we lift the chest. So here's our runner's lunge. Okay. And before we go into our high lunge, we had that little isometric where I'm going to demo, if I weren't on a sticky mat, this is kind of the action that we're looking for. Right? The back foot and the front foot to slide together. As you can see, it kind of dragged my sticky mat with it. But we're going to do that isometrically, right? So I'm ramping up tension. I'm trying to drag my front heel backwards and my front leg forwards. It's kind of happening from the hip, actually. 3, 2, and 1. We let go of that tension and we rise up into our high lunge. Good. And then on your next exhale, bring hands down through center. We're going to twist to the left and hook, rise up. You'll have to rise up. What's up, first class? How you doing? So I'm hooking that right elbow on the outside of the left thigh here. And again, this prayer isn't just for looks. I'm using that palm-to-palm pressure to leverage a little bit more rotation out of this. Only if it feels right in your body. If there's pain or you're forcing, we don't need to go there. That's too much. We're just breathing. Last breath. Stay in your twist. Look down towards the floor. Feel weight shift into that left foot. We're going to try to bring our right foot to meet the left's in one movement. So we stay in this revolved chair pose. Just take a breath or two here. Last one. Keep the knees bent. Inhale, come up to chair pose. And exhale. Let's come up to standing here. Woo! Okay, shake the legs out. We're going to do some single leg stuff here. We're going to forward fold. So we'll inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. If you have blocks, this is going to be really helpful here, okay? We're going to bring the blocks into play, and we're going to come into our standing split. So let's start on the right leg first. So the left leg rises up into the air. This is my standing split. I can actually go to the floor here. All right, sometimes you see super bendy yogis, and they'll like open their hip, and they can like go way up here. But I'm trying to keep my hips a little bit more square in this shape. Just to really feel the intense stretch happening through the right leg. I didn't finish my thought there. So let's bend the left leg. So you're trying to draw your left heel into your butt. And I'm going to wrap that left thigh around my right thigh. And then bend into my, hey, what's up, Mom Furious? Welcome in. We're doing like a little dragon wrap here. So from the standing split, let me demo that again. We're going to bend that right knee, bend the left knee, left heel to butt. I'm going to wrap that thigh around my right thigh and then bend into my right. Okay?
Notice I'm dropping down, my heel on the ground, and then we drop it back up. What's up, Blue Hero? Thank you for the follow. So we're going to try to rep that a couple of times, 4, maybe 5. So we're exhaling, bend, wrap, bend. Inhaling, straighten, straighten, lift. Okay? Let's try it a couple more times. Yeah, I said rise up. It always sounds like I'm singing a Bob Marley song. Okay? Now, if you want a challenge here, once you wrap, bend, I like to squeeze the thighs together. Maybe you can feel like a little bit of a balance here. Okay? Not easy to do. Oh, hello there. Hello on the side cam. Nice. Good. Let's bring it up here. Ooh. All right. So this is where we need maybe a wall, a chair, your blocks, because we're going to open that hip. Oh. Stack it into vertical here. We're in our half moon pose or a variation of it. I'm supported here. Hand can be on the hip. Hand can reach up tall. I've got my camera so I can check my own alignment here. I'm going to lift that foot. Now I'm turning my toes to face you, the camera. Oh, it's a musical. I didn't know that. I thought you were making like a Bob Marley reference. Good. Now, if you're feeling stable here, I have to look down at the floor. Maybe you bring your bottom hand into prayer and prayer. Ah! This is super advanced. This takes balance, strength, and flexibility all in one. Ah! And you know what? Sometimes you fall, and that's okay. We just laugh it off and come back to it, right? Totally happens. Good. All right, so let's lower that hip, lower that leg. My goodness, let's shake it out. But let's stay in that forward fold. We're going to do a little bit of forward fold core. Okay, and this is really, you're going to want some sort of lift off of the ground. Okay, so I'm going to bring mine up to the 3rd level. Level 3. Oh, it's a rap musical. Oh, interesting. I got to check that out. So I'm on level 3. I'm on my high blocks. If you have a chair, that's fine too. We just want to feel some weight as the palms press into the blocks. Subu, you got your blocks. Kate has levitated into the ether. She has reached samadhi. Good for her. All right, so we're pushing down. We're in that forward fold. Take a peek under at your belly button so that we really are in that spinal flexion. Now just hover your right foot off the floor. I'm going to move my blocks to the side just a little bit so you can see on that side cam. I'm going to hike that right hip up so that my right foot is hovering off the floor. Okay? Now, here's what we're going to try for. We're going to reach those toes forward to try to touch the blocks. We're getting hip compression happening here. And I'm pushing down through the blocks. And we're holding 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back in line, and we can lower that down. We're going to do that twice more. Now, if that was doable, if your foot really lifted up, or if you were able to really kick your toes forward, consider lowering it. Level 2, level 1, no blocks, okay? So I'm going to try level 1 and see how that feels. Hip compression's really good if you're working on some more advanced inversions, handstands, things like that. It's also just a nice ab skill there. Cool. How we feel on zoomies? Feel it in the booty too. Yeah. So you might feel it in the hips. We were just on that leg, but a lot of you will feel it in that hip crease there, in the hip flexor, deep into the abs. Okay. Let's try that 2 more times. Feel your hands press down on whatever elevated surface you have, maybe even the floor. We're pushing down. Look at your belly button. Hover that right foot. Slide it forward. Try to touch your wrist or beyond. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. My leg is shaking. 3, 2, and 1. Good. I like to drop down in between these.
It just feels good. I'm letting my heels come all the way up. Totally fine there. No, okay, so I haven't seen Rise Up. I'm getting learned today. Had you guys heard of, on Zoom, have you heard of Rise Up, the musical? No, okay. First Class Fitness, you're teaching us all today. Last round here on this side, and then we'll do all of that on the other side. Yay! So, right leg hovers. Ooh, let's try a challenge. I'm going to go even lower here. Right leg hovers, and it kicks forward. Oh my gosh. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. You can hear the difference. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo! Let's come all the way up. Inhale, sweep the arms, reaching tall. Wowza. Exhale, arms alongside. Shake the legs out if you need them. Extract any splinters in your palm if you have them. I have no idea where that came from. These are cork blocks, so not from my blocks. And we're going to do all of that on the other side, okay? Let's hope your teacher remembers. Just kidding, I gotcha. Inhale, big sweep. Exhale, forward fold. Oh. All right, so our standing split is where we're at. We're going to feel weight into the left leg. Right leg floats into the air. Adjust the wardrobe. And again, if you need it, elevating the floor to you can be helpful. I'm trying to keep my hips square. Some of you will be inclined, kind of open the hip to get that leg to lift a little bit higher. We've got half moon coming up here in a few moments, so you don't really need to do that. We'll get you there. In fact, probably harder to drop that right hip while keeping that left leg high. Give it a try. See if you feel it. Good. So these little dragon wraps here, we're going to bend our right knee, wrap it tight around the left thigh, and then bend the left knee. So the right knee, you can see, is now on the outer calf of the left leg. Okay, so we use our inhale to come back up. Exhale, bend, wrap, bend. Breathe it in, straighten everything out. Try to look at your kneecap. Exhale. Good. We're going to do one more with the option to hold there. Bend, wrap, bend. Now, as I squeeze my thighs together, that gives me some stability to try for this little balance pose here. You can even use that back leg. I just drop my toes down for a little kickstand. Okay, so we get to practice that. Nice. Okay, let's plant the hands, straighten the legs. Now we're going to open the hips vertically. Ugh. Wow. That's not an easy transition, I will say. If you're following along, you're like, holy moly. It takes strength out of the hips to do that, but really good for the outer hips to be able to open them vertically from that shape. But we can start small. I can talk about that in the Q&A after class. Okay, hand can be on the hip. Maybe it's reaching up into the air. Option here to really test your balance and bring that bottom hand. Ooh, I have to look at the floor for that. I've got a bed here, thankfully, to hold me. But if you fall, you just laugh it off and you get back into it, right? No biggie. No biggity. Okay, we're going to lower the hand, lower the hip, lower the leg. We're still in that forward fold, but we're going to do a couple of those hip compression drills from this forward fold. So start where you started. Begin where you started with your first round for this left side, okay? Now we'll be able to see it a little bit more clearly. I'm going to widen these just so you can get a clear front view. Move this forward so I can read chat. So push down through your blocks.
peek under your navel, hover that left sole of the foot. It just picks up right where it was, doesn't move anywhere. And then as we exhale, try to kick those toes forward towards your wrist or your block. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back down, and let's place. Whatever you need to do here in between sets. Sometimes I like to just bend my knee, drop my hips for a second. We're going to do 2 more of those. So, again, if you felt like that was easy, or your foot was really high off the ground or really far forward, just consider lowering your hands. It gets harder the closer to the floor you get. Okay, so I'm going to match my other side. So I went from level 3 to level 1, and you can do the same. Hands pressed down. We're in our forward fold. I'm taking a look at my navel, hovering the left foot, kicking it forward. Hold there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it back. Set it down. Adjust as needed for our final rep. Make this one your most challenging. And that's going to be for you, so that's relative to you. If you're up on a chair, that's totally fine, right? Because we gotta meet you where you are. Have that kind of acceptance of wherever you are today. And what is your intention? We talked about our intention at the beginning of class, right? If you dedicated this practice to somebody, maybe it's the intention of just doing the best that you can, right? And that's a great intention as well. Final round here, we push down into the floor. We look at the navel. We pick up that leg. We kick it forward. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. We put it down. We're also going to drop our butt down to the ground. Bend the knee. We can walk our our hands backwards to come to a seated position. Legs out in front of us. I'm going to come this way. Face all you pretty people. Alrighty. Inhale. Reach tall. Actually, you know what? Let's do staff pose, Dandasana. I don't normally teach this one, but it's a good one. Hands directly beside you. My brain really wanted to say behind. I was like, no, beside you. So hands pressed down. We're going to sit up really tall. And actually, I'm going to scooch forward here so we get a nice side view of this as well. Straight spine. Inhale. Exhale. I'm just trying to hinge forward with a very straight spine. Now, what you can't see that's going on is this inward pressing of my belly button and all the deep abdominal tissues going inward and lifting up. In yoga, it's called Uddiyana Bandha. The bandhas are like areas of lock. We have Mula Bandhas, or kind of our pelvic floors. It lifts up. Uddiyana Bandha is kind of this corset of muscles, this cummerbund, if you will, that are tightening. It's like you're tightening your belt. And then you have Jalantara Bandha is up here in your throat. I don't really talk about those in this class. Kind of goes over a lot of people's heads. So, looks easy from the outside in, but the challenge is from the inside out. Try to sit a little bit taller. So it's this tug of war. Sternum wants to lift up. Abs want to pull the ribs down. Everything's working. That rolled off the tongue a little too easily, too smoothly. You never know what you're going to get in these classes here. How'd your class go, by the way, Mom Furious? Good little fitness stream. I like the wheel idea that you got there. Good, so let's maintain this same shape. We'll go into a forward fold here. We're inhaling, reaching up. Exhale. We're coming into that forward fold shape. I like to connect wherever you can. Maybe it's your thighs. You're just starting out. Maybe it's your shins, ankles. You had a blast. You got great energy in there. I really dig it. Maybe you can reach your feet. So that's one way to make this stretch a little bit deeper, by grabbing further forward. Okay, and a lot of people are like, I just want to get to my toes. Okay, but there's something to be said about maybe backing up a little bit and then reaching that chest tall. So in the act of straightening my spine, it pulls with it the pelvis into an anterior tilt, aka that bowl spills forward, which adds to this stretch without us getting to the toes. Okay? Because sometimes we have to, in yoga, when we first start out, a lot of people are goal-oriented, right? In that they're like, I want to touch my toes. I want to touch my toes. So their intention is to just touch the toes. But over time, you start to learn that it's like a journey. It's about the journey. And your intention of just doing the best that you can is really maybe backing off so that you can feel more, so that you can notice more in your body, so that you can move with integrity, right? So I might be able to touch my toes or beyond, but look how rounded my back is. Not that it's a bad thing, but sometimes just going for a straighter spine and noticing what sensations you feel in the body there can be helpful. Good. Let's inhale, come on up. Bring that right knee into your chest, and we're going to step that right foot over. What's up, Celty? Welcome in. We're stepping over. Thank you. It feels good to be back. Feels like a long time of not streaming. We're going to plant our right hand here. We're going to go for a twist. So we inhale, reach up through the left arm. And exhale. Easier variation is going to wrap around the shin and pull into a twist. A deeper variation is elbow on the outside. Use that leverage there to get that rotation. Nice. So I'm sitting up tall here. I'm using that elbow pressure into the thigh to get a little bit more leverage out of this twist here. Good. And let's unwind out of that twist. I'm going to take my right foot and just place it off to this shape. I don't even know what we're going to call it. I'm just going to do like a little bit of a half hip stretch here. So I'm going to rotate my body over to the right and just lean over this hip. So it's kind of like, it's like a really modified pigeon, if you think about it. Now, if you are so inclined, you can bend that back knee, and now we're into the 90-90 shape. And you know that I like to do my pigeons in this modified 90-90. So you can keep it straight if you want just a change up. If you want something a little bit more familiar, we go into this 90-90 shape. And I've rotated my sternum to be in line with that right thigh. Keeping a long spine, we'll hinge forward. Now we can droop here. A lot of times I'll do some active stuff, but I won't force you to do it here today. But what I would invite you to try is just a little bit of downward pressure into the floor here as you go. Try to go a little bit deeper, and you notice it's almost like a paradox. Sometimes you push down a little bit, and it allows you to go a little bit deeper in the stretch. Right? We're showing the nervous system, hey, you actually are strong enough to be in this position. What's that old SNL skit like? You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. Al Franken doing something. I can't remember the skit. I'm sure somebody remembers. Kate, you know it. She's waving. You got to hop on to Twitch and drop it in chat. No, I'm just kidding. When your yoga teacher tells you, hey, you know that yoga you're doing? Yeah, pause that. Go online so you can chat. It's good stuff, though. Nice. Let's press back up from here. So not just using your back muscles to lift you up. See if you can use that downward pressure of the thigh into the floor. Stuart Smiley, thank you. I knew someone would know it. Someone knew it. All right, we're going to straighten that leg. We're coming back to square hips. So we're sitting on both sits bones here. Back from whence we came. Let's bring ancient wisdom with Stuart Smiley. So good. I think about that a lot. Probably more than I should. Left foot comes up and over, but it's a good affirmation. You're good enough. You're smart enough. Gosh, dang it. All right, so the left hand plants behind you to sit you up really tall here.
And again, I mentioned this in the very beginning of class. Any seated positions that feel like a struggle, if we elevate the hips onto a block, pillows, folded blanket, it can be really helpful. Reach that right arm up with a breath in. As you exhale, ease your version. Right? Less intense twist, grabs around the front of the shin. Deeper twist. Notice I didn't say better. A deeper twist is hooked onto the outside. Right? And I mention that because it's a common, I see it a lot in classes. Sometimes the teacher will offer oh, 3 days of no streaming. I can't speak. They'll offer the next level. And I think people get caught in this mindset that the harder equals better, right? And it's not necessarily the case. It's just deeper. It's different. And sometimes it isn't even about skill level or ability. Some bodies just can get into poses more easily. So, not worth the judgment if you can or can't do things. And a deeper posture isn't always a better option. But harder equals my gains. That's right, yes. No pain, no gain. That came from an ancient yogi. Little did we know. It was the Buddha himself, I think. That was his direct quote. Well, actually, in his teachings, I guess you could distill that in some sense, right? No suffering. Oh, wow. We could go in the weeds with that. So we're going to unwind here. We're going to step that left foot out to, I don't know, what is this, like a candy cane kind of shape here? If you want to bend your knee, you can do that. But we're going to roll onto our left hip. Bend the knee if you want. You can keep it out here. It's just a little variation on a theme. Okay? I've squared my chest up to my left thigh, and we're hinging like a ninja. How equals my gains. That's true. Hey, Rasasaros, welcome. Didn't know a person's body could twist that far. That's right. We got twisted yoga up in here. Just kind of unwinding myself, I can feel my body a bit stiff from, as much as I like camping, it's not sleeping on a mattress, so body can feel it a little bit. So this feels good. Hey, Dragon Blue, welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad to have you. Got a little party going in here. And we're just kind of finishing up here. It's just past 1, so we're going to come down. Yes. Yes, Sailor Daro. I guess, yep, here it is. Celti usually calls it out. Yes, this is the booty cam. Just wait until I teach crow. Panda, there you go. Someone called it out for you. He was eating and he went, huh, what? So let's come up from this. Let's recline onto our backs. Let's go down. Let's drop it. You got to head out, Subu. Thank you so much for coming. All we were doing is twisting and shavasanaing, so you didn't miss much. I hate to jip you of shavasana, though. Sorry about that. All right. Thank you so much, Subu. Good to see you. I'll catch you later. All right, so we're going to finish up with our spinal twists. Kate, are you good on time for twist and shavasana? Sweet. I know you said you had to go at like 1:10, so if you're jumping in on Twitch, I've got my Zoomy students on Zoom, so that's who I'm looking at up here. I can see them following along. Booty cam. Boop, boop. Oop, I don't want to close that. There we go. So spinal twists coming at you. Let's hug the knees into the chest. You can experiment here. See what feels good for you. Sometimes just knees straight up into the chest feels good. For some anatomies, inhibits that, so we can take the knees a little wider, and we can rock side to side. You can go into happy baby, although I realize now this is, again, not a flattering angle. Sailor Daro, had you not said anything, I wouldn't have even noticed. But now I feel like I have to put up like a censor bar or something. Maybe Josephine, she could be here and then just be like, "What's up? What's up?" Although that doesn't look right either. Now I'm realizing that. Come on, people. All right. We're going to go knees into the back into the chest. We're rolling over to the right side. I can only imagine what you guys are talking about. Right side over, left arm reaches up and over. Oh. Just Sailor Daro, that's right. I know, it got a little weird there. I thought I was going to make things better, and I think I just made things worse. And we breathe. Pumpkin's eating this up right now. Pumpkin is a fan. So we're using those long exhales to just relax into this. Nice. Bring the knees back through center. I like to drag them up towards my armpits first, get that cannonball shape, makes it a little easier to come out of the twist. Reposition your hips over to the right. Allow the knees to drop over to the left. And then we reach up and over. Nice spinal twist. Now if you're just sitting in a chair following along, you can take one hand on one thigh, and then if you've got the arm rests, you can put the hand that you're rotating towards on that and leverage into a twist. Depending on your chair, maybe you can even hook your arm around the back of the chair and pull into this twist. I'm just trying to consider all of you that are maybe not down on the ground doing this, but still want to feel a nice release through the spine if you're just sitting and watching. And after a few breaths, you realize, oh, wow, I've kind of melted into this position a little bit more. That can be really nice to stay here longer if you have the luxury of time. This is a good one, getting out of bed or right before bed and just kind of unwind, literally and metaphorically. And figuratively, I should say. Good, let's slide the knees up to the armpits. We'll just bring ourselves back to center. Good, if there's any other pose you feel like your body needs here, legs up the wall, if you have an inversion, you can do that. I don't usually teach a headstand at the end of the class, but there you go, Kate. I like that one too. She's just kind of threw her legs up and over into a plow pose. But I'm just going to come into my Shavasana. So this is kind of a standard ending pose for a lot of yoga classes, almost all of them really. And we're just relaxing the body really and kind of taking inventory of what's going on. So I've let my legs just flop out to the sides, my arms just alongside the body here. I'll even close my eyes here. And just let my body breathe how it wants to breathe. I've been controlling it for most of the class, taking those deep inhales, long exhales, but now we can just let it do its thing. try to feel into your body. Notice what sensations you can become aware of. Sometimes that's easier said than done. You can kind of quiz yourself and think of, can I feel, without moving it, can I feel my right big toe? Can I feel where my left quad is, or my left thigh? And see if you can bring your awareness around the body. Just trying to feel into parts of your body. And it's a skill that doesn't always come naturally. It doesn't come easily necessarily, but it's a skill that can be practiced and can be honed. The easiest place to start is probably just focusing on some of the muscles that we felt working today. See if you can feel them here in this kind of state of relaxation and stillness. See if you can remember what it felt like when that muscle was being stretched, or maybe it was starting to burn from holding some tension and some force. And contrast that with what you notice here. No effort, no tension, just still. Begin to deepen your breath here. Really feel your belly rising and falling. Nice. Moving through the fingers and toes. The ankles, the wrists, elbows and knees. And then stretch the arms up overhead. Take a big breath in as you stretch long. Open the mouth, stick out the tongue. And again, we do it. Inhale, big stretch from fingertips to toe tips. Nice. Bring the knees into your chest and allow the body to roll to one side. Hey there, little Susie. I'll be with you in just a moment. We're going to finish today's class with 3 rounds of Om. It's a simple little chant. It's just Om. So oftentimes we see it spelled O-M, but the sound is actually that of A-U-M, and sometimes it is spelled that way. But we go ah, oo, and the sound kind of shifts through those 3 types of sounds to give us this really cool effect. And in person it's cool because as the note stays the same, but the shape of the sound shifts, it creates these little harmonics, or these almost like hidden notes, which is a really cool effect. May not come through here over the mic, but it's something to be aware of when you're in person, when you're taking a live class. So I'm going to get this Shruti box going. This is just giving us a little note that we're going to sing. Feel free to join me if you'd like. Otherwise, you can just enjoy the sound here. We're sitting up tall, hands on the thighs. Maybe you're in prayer. Eyes can be closed here. Let's take one preparatory breath before we begin our 3 rounds. Take an inhale. Exhale everything out. Inhale for Om. Thank you all for coming today and joining in, whether you were taking class or just watching along, jumping in on chat, or just lurking. I appreciate you all. So thank you so much for being here. Namaste.